With over 12 million people and a territorial land area of 351,861 hectares, the states...
I beg, no stress us, make we get down to business.
Mainland 98.3 FM.
This is no imaginary world.
Where the rhythm of the city comes alive.
Somebody sexy, tell them, hey,
Electricity.
News, entertainment, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome our Industry Merit Award winner, the incomparable Patience Ozoko.
With our talented voices, keeping you in the know.
Wow.
Are you ready for this?
And the winner
Is
Introducing. Listen to the sound. Feel the sound. What the heck?
Don't know about you, but I'm handsome. Most people me for ransom. See the coconuts all up in my mansion. African Michael Jackson. Just see me down to the play like some. On the stage, they give them all the action. And in the room, maximum satisfaction. So don't hate me now, because we're gonna very be a man. I told you no wrong. Don't hate me, cause I'm not a baby. I'm not a baby. We're gonna very be a man. I told you no wrong. Don't hate me, cause I'm hotter than you. I'm hotter than you. Everybody listen when I speak. Are you with me? I get 10 million in a week. Are you with me? I pull up on the club and I drop. Are you with me? And when the people see me, then they stop. Are you with me? Before I be the hustle just to chop. Are you with me? And that time nobody talk. Are you with me?
0.3 FM.
Dear Nigerians, I am determined, I repeat, to give you the affordable and reliable power.
The stakes are higher than ever.
Government policy does not support youth in this country. So if you say you have any idea, one day, one way or the other.
The conversations are louder than imagined. The expectations are greater. The demand for quality blueprints needed to make informed decisions is constantly being reviewed.
You can't start hiding under party or anything. We are leaders that are entrusted by our people. Come and speak on their behalf.
The Situation Room on 98.3 Mainland FM provides the platform where all of your demands are met. Issue-based conversations about politics, policies, leadership and governance in Nigeria and around the world. Join us every Mondays through Fridays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we engage and interact towards setting the agenda for proper accountability and public engagements. The Situation Room is here. We welcome...
Okay, you're welcome to Lagos. You're live on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Apologies for starting a little behind schedule. We had to just try to fix one or two things there, but you're welcome. This is the Situation Room, and this program comes up on the airwaves every Mondays to Fridays from 4 to 5 p.m. Especially in respect to what we demand from the government in terms of accountability, public trust, in terms of when we get the things that were promised us build up to the election, the one everyone calls the dividends of democracy. Once again, you're welcome. It's the Thursday edition, and Mr. 𝗵𝗲 𝗦𝗶, the head of political desk of Guardian newspaper, joins me on the show today. He wasn't with us last week. We had to do it on the phone, but today I was able to pull him into the studio. I will always appreciate his presence. Today is the 21st day of the month of September 2023. Well, we're almost done with the first of the ember months, and then from here we'll go to October, we'll go to November, and we'll go to December. I remember I was having a conversation a couple of weeks back, and I said sometimes when you get to the first 6 months of the year, or even the first 7th to 8th month of the year, you probably just feel, oh, there's still enough time. The year is still, and the moment you get to here, September, October, you just know that yes, we're close to the whole conversation around, oh, new year, new me, new year, new resolution. And sometimes even these resolutions don't pass the first week of the new year, but it's okay. We'll always find a way to survive. Once again, you're welcome. Yesterday on the show, my guest didn't leave us with something really exciting. He talked about the fact that if nothing is being done to arrest the prices of food items in the market, we may not be able to afford a bag of rice by December. He's a local rice farmer, Mr. Matthias Paul. He's an entrepreneur. He's a young man, an entrepreneur. And we decided to go into that conversation yesterday in respect to food security in Nigeria. And he laid a lot of issues on the table. And I asked him, I said, why is it that our locally produced rice is almost at the same price with, in quotes, the foreign rice? And he said, hey, some of the foreign rice that we buy in the market are actually grade A local rice that are rebagged and repackaged in foreign bags. And he's a farmer. He has a big milling, warehouse. So he understands what he's saying. And he also said that the cost of production, that a ton of rice that he buy for 186,000 is now almost 400,000. And then you look at cost of production, cost of transportation, diesel. And he said it that if we're not careful, if we don't look for immediate solution to this problem, that by December Nigerians can buy local rice for as much as 75,000 naira per bag. I mean, that's it worries me. But then let's hope that the next couple of days, because if you say you don't want to eat rice, beans is even more expensive. So it's not like the alternatives that are available is even affordable, which is quite unfortunate. And on the show today, we talk about one particular issue that we've had this conversation on open spaces, but I feel Mr. 𝗵𝗲 would help us bring up a different perspective to this conversation. And it's always about, why do governors always fall out with their deputies? And then this is going to be centered around what is happening in Edo State between His Excellency Governor 𝗪𝗪𝗪 and his deputy, Comrade Philip Shuaibu, and of course what is happening in the neighboring states to Edo State, which is Ondo State, between 𝗧𝗪𝗪 𝗪𝗏 and his principal, His Excellency Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Remember that under Akeredolu's first term, it was Agbola that was his deputy. They fell off, I think, a few months to the primaries of the APC. Then Agbola left the party and went to pick up the ticket of another political party, I think the SDP or thereabout, to contest against his former principal. Of course, he lost. And, now there is the same scheme is playing out. The governor of Ondo State was away for about 2 months, or more than 2 months, for medical issues. And then when he came back, the first decision that was made was to reassign every member of the deputy governor's media aides. They were, dismissed and told to go back to their various ministries. And we saw the same thing play out in Edo State also, where the deputy governor's office was moved away from the government house to a different location entirely. In fact, I think on Tuesday or Monday, videos surfaced online where the deputy governor was locked out of his office, and he reportedly stayed there for over an hour. Nobody spoke to him. He was not allowed access to his office, and he had to leave. Now, yesterday, it was reported that 9 lawmakers have signed a petition leveling allegation of gross misconduct against the deputy governor of Ondo State. That's Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa. Remember that when the governor first traveled, he did not transmit power to his deputy. But when he stayed long, I think he came back. Before he went back again, he transmitted power to his deputy to act in his place as the governor, which is what the Constitution demands. But again, within that period, we saw the Speaker of the Ondo State House of Assembly, Mr. Honorable Olamide Oladiji, commissioning project on behalf of the governor when there's an active governor on seat. So those even before Akeredolu came back, there's been a lot of talks about, oh, it's going to be tough, Lucky may be over ambitious. The same script that we saw play out in Edo State, where the deputy governor had come out to say at different times that he wants to be the governor, he wants to succeed his principal. And based on the calculation, it is said that it is the turn of Edo Central to present the next governor of Edo State. These politics are intriguing, they're interesting, but most importantly, they are really complicated. Now in Ondo State, a petition detailing the allegations against Mr. Aiyedatiwa was signed by 9 out of the 26 members of the House of Assembly, which was presented at an emergency plenary presided over by the Speaker. Indications of a plan to remove the deputy appeared early on Wednesday morning when the House leadership summoned an emergency session of the House. Mr. 𝗵𝗲 is here seated already and is going to help us understand some of these things. It played out in Kano State also. The Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Ganduje that looks like sworn enemies now were one principal and subordinate, governor and deputy governor. Now they are not even in the same political party again. Agbola is not in the same political party with Aketi, and look at what is happening in Edo State. Mr. 𝗵𝗲, good evening and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Situation Room.
Good evening, Okpe and our listeners.
So let's get straight up into the conversation. By the way, the president had been, doing some travels lately. From he just returned from the United Nations General Assembly. His vice president also he attended the G77 summit as well. What does this do to the Nigerian economy? Let's just open that conversation that will come into the main crux of the matter today.
Well, I think this is very necessary and compulsory for him, because after his election, we Nigerians can talk much about Tinubu and that there has been change of guard, but he needs to expose himself, his policies, to the international community at every given opportunity, especially like hunger and kind of the events that may face and going in the recent time. These are the very big ones that happens at least once in a year. So if you could not do that one this time around, I think his government, will be within himself for the next 1 year. So it's a normal thing. I think that whenever there's a change of guard, whoever that is coming in, I think we want to go and warm himself up to other leaders at the international forum, because you need it. This is a global village that you cannot do anything on your own, and you need especially the world powers, at least to assist you in achieving your objectives. This is a developing country. We cannot doubt. We cannot be shy away from speaking that truth. I think you need big countries that have developed technologically, that have advanced economically. I think to have a kind of a partnership and collaboration, even seeking their support, and that's what he has been doing. And but I always it has been a routine exercise, because if you did remember when Obasanjo, I think the first year of Obasanjo in government, I think he spent more years abroad than the number of years he spent in Nigeria. I think the whole distance were in the media then. That out of that 365 days for that year, Obasanjo must have spent over 200 days abroad. But we saw the impact later, I think, with debt forgiveness, and that has really helped Nigeria in reshaping our economy. I think it allows us to continue to plan. So I think we saw the impact. So what I'm saying is that it's good as it's going out, but the other thing is to take a maximum advantage of the opportunities those traveling offer. And what are the advantages? What are you selling to the international community? What are the other public officers that followed you? What have they been able to do? And again, apart from signing all these MOUs, agreements with international investors, with countries, how many of them will come to life? Because that's what I always ask people. It's a ritual. It's what we have been noticing. Many people signed agreements with Jonathan that never come to pass. Many signed with Yar'Adua that the man died. I think they didn't open those things up. Many people signed agreement with Buhari. But how many of them came to Nigeria to establish, I think, those factories, those companies, or to implement those as already discussed? But this is the area I want Nigerians, everybody, to look into. that we must all keep on reminding them. All these things are done in the public. It's not what they are doing that is hidden. So even if they are forgetting, let's continue to turn to them that what about the agreement we signed with Siemens? What about the agreement we signed with Japan? What about the agreement we signed with China? What is the deal we're having with US? Do that so until we begin to derive maximum benefit in terms of implementation of those MOU. Some of us may not be that excited because it has been happening severally and nothing has come seriously of those things. But if he is doing it now, how serious I think are the people following him, the diplomats, the technocrats, the ministers, I think that will implement these agreements. That is what we want to see, and that's what I'll be excited. I'll be excited to say. Let's say in the next couple of months, we begin to see based on our agreement, our journey to Onga.
This investor is in town.
In town. And the last time we were in so places, we signed an agreement with this Chinese company. They are now in town. At least to start implementation. I think with that one, Nigeria will not be excited. But changing greetings, having photo ops with them, I think it's not enough of what we want to see again. I think we have gone, and then we should be moving beyond that.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that sends some message of optimism out to everyone out thinking that, the entourage, 5 governors, 2 this, 2 that. What exactly are those, journeys for? Well, hopefully within the next couple of days, we'll get beyond just commitment. We'll see actions being taken. Wow. So let's get straight up into the crux of the conversation today. Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, I'm going to ask you very clearly, what does it mean to be a deputy in Nigeria? Politically now, I mean deputy governor or vice president maybe.
I think you know what, the first and foremost to look at it is what the constitution defines deputy governor to be. Is like in the local parlance, a spare tire. Because the constitution does not provide any definite function for the deputy governor. So it's just talking of in case he's incapacitated or not around, or but at best any assignment willingly given
and that
to
is
him.
Still left at the discretion of the governor.
That is the point. So if anybody looking at the problem we have with that particular people must start from the constitution, because if the constitution did not give them a definite assignment, then the whole issue becomes political. But remember, the former governor, the man who won an election in Bayelsa State, it was because of his deputy
that he lost his chance.
That on the eve of swearing in, they sent him packing. But remember, people chose deputy governor not simply because they like their face, but it's part of the calculation for winning an election. I'm from this area. For me to win an election, right, I must get somebody from that area. So the combination of my constituency and that constituency will give us the winning streak rate. So if the deputy governor is so relevant and important in the political calculation of winning election, and you are subjecting that constituency, his constituency that was part of the winning formula, to become spare tire, then we begin to see how faulty our constitution is. Adibin Akeredolu had his way. He would have picked his deputy from any other area, but he knew the strength of a larger area when it comes to voting pattern, the population in that area, that he needs the votes of that area, and in case election comes, to stabilize his government. That's why he went to that. It's not because he liked the man's face. There are many faces around him that they like them. He has many aides, he has many associates, but he specifically went to that particular zone to pick somebody to stabilize his government and to win the election. And you know how keenly the election was contested vis-a-vis his running mate. I'm sorry, his opponent. From the central. And you know, the desperation of Akure that they had never produced.
They want to produce the governor.
The governor. Yes, desperation. But because of the combination of that election, so if you are now treating the whole that constituency as a spear tire when they were part of the winning streak, then we can now begin to see where we got it wrong. First and foremost, if the constitution says the man is a spear tire, right, that is his survivor. His political survivor, his existence is dependent on the governor. And that is what, and the governor himself, being a political animal, immediately, and he wouldn't want, they know governor would want anybody to share that crown with him. He wants to be Alpha and Omega, wants to be one that everybody should bow to, know that nobody, I think, can have an alternative opinion to his decision. So that is the fundamental error we have, the constitution we are implementing. But some states have been a bit tactical, at least more matured, to begin to give, I think, a certain ministry to the, I think, to their deputy, at least to supervise. For instance, you did remember that the issue of governor and deputy crisis started in Lagos State. Many negotiators will remember the issue of Bokno.
Bokno.
It's still fresh in people's memory. Right. People will still also remember the man that went back to Tinubu again now, Pedro.
𝗪𝗵𝗵𝗁.
We saw this thing happening. And we saw how the issue between Bokno and Tinubu shook this town. Because of the woman wanted to assert herself that no, I think I must have a role to play. And I contributed to winning this election. So Adibi, the constitution will have been right. That is after winning the election, the governor pick somebody to come and be his deputy. Like he picked commissioner and other political
so that you won't lay claims to the numbers that you brought on board.
Because if you brought me, if you say I want me to deliver my constituency,
and I did.
Do you understand? But at the same time, you don't want to recognize me as a factor. Do you understand? In this joint enterprise, it has become a joint enterprise. Are you telling me that if Tinubu did not pick somebody from the northeast or from the north, we would have won this election? Will he have won this election? Because if Tinubu will not turn around and be treating Shetima as a spear tire that's of no consequence, of no relevance, will it be right to him? But what I'm saying is that the constitution should be redefined. We should go and redefine this relationship based on our peculiarity, structures, and the environment we are implementing, we are operating from. So you see now, some governors will not say, okay, because they don't want this friction to continue. So my deputy governor be supervising education, as we saw in the Lagos State here, or whatever, shows then. Do you understand? Supervising education, as we see now that the same deputy governor should supervise works, but again, we learned, rightly or wrongly, that the last special advisor on works, instead of reporting to the deputy reports to the governor, and that's why some people in the assembly at least said they were not going to
clear him
for the second time, right? But what I'm saying is that the governor should be magnanimous enough to admit win the election. Politics, the master. Some deputy governors are smart because they knew their onions. They never crossed the governor. Even the one of the governor will not cross. Because that's the reality of what we are implementing. So, but it's unfortunate that whenever we have this, end this government in 2025, election is later next year. Must they start this distraction now? Is it not too early? How many years have they spent, at least on the second term, that they want to spend over 2 years politicking, fighting? distracting governance. Is it what Edo people deserve? Certainly no. Even on those states now, everything they are moving now is to impeach the deputy governor. And simply because they saw the hand of the man that was having ambition. Tell me any politician that did not have ambition. Tell me one. There is no people join politics because of ambition. Nobody join politics because he want to be subservient to anybody. The essence of a politician is to gain control of power, not to be not to be a messenger. I'm in my house now. I didn't join politics, but the day I had ambition of becoming governor or commissioner or chairman local government, I will go and pick a card of a political party, and will not tell me that I was just in party without having ambition. No, is there anybody without ambition in politics?
No, Mr. Muniwade, last year, early this year, I got a gift from a very senior mentor of mine, and it's a book that was written by the current national chairman of the ruling APC, that's Abdullahi Ganduje, when he was still the governor of Kano State. And the title of the book is A Deputizing and Governance in Nigeria. It chronicles his life and his defining moment when he was deputy to Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso in Kano State. And I want to quote something from that book. He said, the history of relationship between some governors and their deputies in Nigeria since the First Republic have been that of disloyalty, envy, betrayal, and mistrust. It goes further to say that this should be considered as a matter of national importance because the resentful relationship is unfavorable to democracy, to national peace, to stability and development, because when governors clash with their deputies, the state suffers. Now, we've seen this thing play out in Ondo State. It has played out in Kano State. It's currently playing out in Edo State. Remember also that Mr. Mahadi Goso, the deputy governor to Bello Matawale, was impeached in Zamfara State.
Yes.
And we've seen all of these things play out at different times. Is this about ego from the principal, or this is about being over-ambitious by the deputies?
I think, yes, I think, but I don't want to look at the personalities in this game. Is for me to know, as I said something, we are political animals, but people join political parties and be partisan because of ambition, right? But whether they play the ambition rightly or wrongly is another ball game, right? And I said that leadership should be that at least a deputy governor should go and read, especially the 14 laws of power. That one of the, I think the 24 or 17 is you don't outshine the master. All right, you must show loyalty to the fort, even the loyalty to like Jonathan showed to Buhari, that Jonathan in 8 years in office did not attract a single project to Ijebure where he claimed to have come from.
Oh, you mean Professor Ƴe̬̬i
Ƴè̬mi Osinbajo? He did not attract a single road. I was at Kenya recently. You understand? The roads were completely bad. No presence of the federal government. No school that you say that the man attracted. Whereas Buhari moved everything humanly
to
possible.
Katsina State.
Well, not only Katsina, it's even to Maradi or wherever in Niger. Right? So anybody who is ready to show that kind of loyalty is likely to survive as deputy governor. But in retrospect, in the next 5-10 years, will Osinbajo be happy, or his people be happy, that having served as deputy governor, as vice president
for 8
years, he could not attract FEMA or whatever, a federal ministry of works, to do just one road in Ikene? No institution in Ikene, no hospital from federal government in Ikene. I've not seen one, and I challenge anybody. Some people, I'm sure, listen to us, might be from that area, to tell us what Osinbajo attracted to Ikene in 8 good years. I'm not talking of Ogun State, and I'm not talking of Southwest, but where he was born. His wife also born there, being daughter of Awolowo. And many people with investment, I'm talking about that's at the federal level. But in a state, will any deputy governor going home? And people are asking him, sir, they've done all the roads in Owo. At least dualize, I was there. I saw a lot of road construction in Owo. And
all of the internal roads in Owo are fixed.
And whatever, whatever. I think his road to his house is, I think, is not passable. People will be asking me questions. Do you understand what I'm saying? So with that one, even if he's not ready to confront his master, won't he also have ambition when he knows how power is being abused and being used at least to settle their constituency?
So now let me ask you again, on these premises, Mr. Adiemi, should electoral values in terms of numbers, should it be repaid? Now this is what I mean. From all calculation, I've not seen any gubernatorial candidates or presidential candidate that will just pick a candidate for picking sake. Is either you are bringing something to the table. Either you have the numbers, or you have the money, or you have the clout. You must bring something to the table in terms of electoral values. But we saw something that played out in Kogi State. That Prince Audu died on the day of election before the result was announced, and his running mate was Honorable James Faleke. James Faleke was pushing, he approached the court that he should be sworn in, and the constitution says you are not the governorship candidate. And that was what brought Yaya Bello to the conversation, for him to have been sworn in before he won his second term. So I'm asking you, if you say that the only way you can survive is to be loyal to a fault, and your principal is not seeing your need, is the challenge worth it, Mr. Adiemi?
You know, I think that's the problem we are talking about the constitution, and I will continue because it's the constitution that we derives all the power from the constitution. If Faleke was denied the opportunity of governing that state, because on the joint ticket, people from Okun, everywhere Faleke came from, put all their votes in that basket that gave Audu that victory. And why announcing before the final submission of the result, they have started attending what? Audu died. And that's one came. Well, there's a power play that went into it because they exploited the lacuna
in the constitution.
And that is why, you know what, when the drafters of the constitution were working, especially that constitution that was so false because it was military that, you know, just try put some people together to review the 1979 constitution. Abubakar was in a hurry to leave. And I have to give him kudos for that. Babangida dribbled us for over 8 or 9, 10 years. And the man came and they said, we want to hand over in 9 months. People thought it was impossible.
And he did.
But he has left. Gave us the 1999 constitution that many people have found many faults therein. What stops us now as a people? October 1 is coming now. That we talk about independence, begin to talk about national question. What stops us as a people to review this constitution and make it democratic based on our experience, or based on our culture, based on our values? Military gave us that constitution. What's stopping us from giving ourselves a constitution? You know, there are many inherent flaws in that constitution. If we begin to talk about it, maybe we'll change the topic of this discussion. But and one of those flaws was the issue of this deputy governor that we are talking about. So until those things were really looked into, we will continue to have this crisis. But it's going to be unfortunate to many deputy governors. And the implication is this, if they are not careful. A community will tell you that when this man is going to be governor, you have picked our son as deputy governor because you want our vote. You pick the man because you believe he has electoral value. You don't just pick somebody with electoral value and bring him up. He has something to offer. Right. But if people say the way, you wanted this one because of our votes. But we can't trust you that when you get there, you don't turn into spare tire. So instead now, let's vote for another person. No, it's not our son, a governor or deputy governor, but we are trusting him.
That if he becomes governor, he will get the right.
He will get the right. At least to give us what we need. And it will change the ball game. So we just see that picking, and we begin to see some people saying that they will tell you that if you don't get the governor, no, we will go and swear that nobody should accept
the deputy
to be deputy. We are beginning to see that one. And people who are accepted to be deputy, they will not vote for you. People have been doing that, and that's why some candidates lost the election. Because once they saw that this man that was going to become governor, at least it would not, at least the voice of our deputy governor, our son, would not matter to him. Then why must we not just give him our votes free of charge? Whereas our son will become spare tire that cannot even attract, I think,
so now, in the game of loyalty, still talking about that book that I made reference to, Deputizing and Governance in Nigeria, I remember there was a part where Abdullahi Ganduje talked about loyalty, and loyalty is a very sacred word to me, because I've seen people play on the talk of, oh, I'm loyal to this person. Who is the deputy governor supposed to be loyal to?
When I'm talking of this loyalty, it's easy to be loyal to him as a person, that whatever you do, you are right. That cannot be challenged at the detriment of the constituency of people I also represent. I told you the loyalty of the Vice President Jonathan. Is that kind of loyalty any politician want to be at a state level? That they were doing conditional cash transfer.
He didn't even take it to Kenny.
They were giving money to the to the small scale industries. It was there for almost 5 or 6 years before they created office of humanitarian and whatever, and put a woman there, and when they say it's collecting almost 500 million every day. And then let's go ask his people in the Kenya. I'm not talking about local state. How many of them got that money from his office? And in the next 5-10 years, you want him to go back to that community and say, when I was the vice president, they will tell him to buy.
What did you do?
What did you do? They will ask him. Is that the loyalty we are talking about? Is it the loyalty we are talking about? When he saw the president not only taking some of the vital institutions to Daura, I know Daura very well. Aviation school, even to the extent that a project that was ready to be situated, they've started working in Katsina Township.
They relocated it to Daura.
Yes, trip now in Daura. And this is a man that could not and did not get a single thing for his constituency. Is that kind of loyalty we are talking about? No. So people will now begin to see that we have to really sit down to critically look at the office of the vice
president or the deputy.
Vice president or the deputy. The man is a politician. You did not just go and bring let's say a civil servant. How many people have gone to? We are talking of usefulness of technocrats to governance. How many people have gone to take a technocrat
to be running mate?
To be running mate. So you pick somebody that you are sure has a little value. You are sure that you bring that votes of that constituency, that district, to your own, to give you the election, to give you the winning something you need, and after that one, any treatment given to that man is given to his constituency.
True.
And we want, at the end of the election, so that told him that it's what I assigned you to do. So if I wake up on the wrong side of my bed and say, well, nothing for you, it's also nothing for you. If I'm happy with you today and I say, well, Deputy Governor, come and lick this plate. After myself and my children, my wife and wives
have eaten.
They
come and take the crumbs.
So Deputy Governor, I think you still have something here to chop. So would that commensurate the votes of that constituency. So we have to look at it critically.
It's a big conversation.
I'm not saying the deputy governor should, I think, be rude, not be completely loyal to their boss, but that loyalty should not be stupidity. Sorry to say. The Jonathan one, each time I went to a career recently, I think I don't know how to describe that one.
Okay. In case you're just tuning in and you're wondering what we're doing on this program, you're live on Milan 98.3 FM. And I actually didn't think this conversation was going to be so much of an expose today, but it's interesting. I mean, I just woke up. He said a lot when the governor traveled. Okay. I would say to look at the conversation around the deputy governors or the vice chairman or deputy governors in this country.
You know what made the Ondo State one funny? Throughout the period, we know that the wife of the governor and his son
were in charge.
So were they in the calculation when they are voting?
In fact, it's even the wife of the governor from Imo State. 0913
and he went to a state contest to contest for Senate. He lost primaries.
In short, they changed.
Whereas she was calling short.
In Ondo State. They changed the location of the primaries and they didn't even tell.
That's a waste politically there.
0913-600-0410. This conversation had brought up the issue of another need to urgently review the Nigerian Constitution. Now, this is not just about election. People always think, oh, when it's electoral issues, that's when they say we review Constitution. No. Resource control, electoral issues, even the value of our politicians need to be brought back to the table. Why will I give you almost 30% of the total vote or 40% of the total vote? I've seen where deputies are even more popular than the governors. I've seen where deputies brought more numbers than even the governors. Well, it's time for you to join the conversation. What do you think? Mr. Mayuande had helped us to break down some of these things, and I'm seeing it from a different perspective entirely. Should the loyalty of the deputy governor be to his principal as expected at the detriment of his own people that probably feels that is the closest they can be to the top? Some of them, if they don't become governor after being deputy, it may take another maybe 20 years before the rotation will come to them again. What do you think? Join the conversation. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Deborah.
See, this is the way they destroy this nation. Using our constitution to destroy our democracy. Now, I believe they're supposed to vote for deputy the way they voted. Why do you have spare tire and you not use it? Look at the way they are running it. Come to our local government here. The way the person in charge here running it as if even our councillor here. When people don't recognize you, some area don't recognize you as our councillor.
Thank you.
Be quoting wrong constitution to destroy this nation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's allow other people to join the conversation. 0913-600-0410. What do you think is always the reason why most governors often fall out with their deputies? Join the conversation. 091. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Your name and where you calling from?
This is Olaiwola.
You're welcome.
Yeah. My input, when you are talking about the loyalty, you know the opposite of loyal to someone is a slave mentality. And this is what is in the happen. Because when you are doing the course of the leadership, when you are too loyal with someone, and that person will turn you to become the slave. You will see most of the deputy governor in the whole federation today. They are 65% of them to 80% of them are slaves. And also, even if you talk about our structural, in terms of the government structural in Nigeria today, the people that are abusing more office is the governor. They even account for the local government fund, and they seize the power of the House of Assembly. These are the issues here. And all of them loyal to a single person in the state. This is where we are always questioned. The loyalty becomes a slave. Let the constitutional define the rule and the regulation of every department. Let everybody know this is my rule, and the constitution empower everybody that are elected to the position. In case of the position of the deputy governor, and also most of the House of Assembly, let them know the key role they are playing in the government at that moment. So nobody will supervising them or to be taking their writing away.
Thank
and
you.
Also including from power.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Keep the calls coming in. You can also join us on social media, facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. I'm seeing your messages there. I would read them. Let me pick this call. Prince Wise.
Yeah, Okrayemi.
1 minute. You're welcome.
Thank you for picking it from Mr. Adeyemi. Good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. You see, my stand is this. The deputy governors, they know the terrain they are going to. They read the constitution up and down. You know what is there. And when they saw this, the best thing to do for any deputy governor today is to be 100% loyal to their principal. Why am I saying this? If you are loyal to him, if you want to advise him to go in a room, discuss with your governor, not for you to go and pay the newspaper or this is to agree with your governor. So for me, the one that's happened they do and you do, I think that minority, you have to say governor today. You only hear the voice of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. But for me, any deputy governor, whether you are vice president, you are a deputy governor, you must be 100%, not 99.9, 100% loyal to the governor. If you don't take the deputy governor is so loyal to the governor before the governor snap out of the country, it won't be like this. And finally, for the 𝗪𝗵𝗁 you are talking about, it is true. You said the truth, nothing but the truth. Let me allow that.
Thank you very much, Prince Y. 0913-600-0410. Well, I'm receiving messages. Let me pick some calls. Hello, good evening.
Thank you for picking my call.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you have to 𝗪𝗪𝗁. I'm calling from Sango. I really enjoy your say and your contribution to the.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate you every time you come. The issue of deputy governor in Nigeria, or deputy in general, or vice president. If you see the politician we have in Nigeria, can be best described as, I don't know how to translate it from Yoruba, as it genuine on the roof. You see, the military gave us the roof as the constitution, and after the entertainment, are we not supposed to have amended the constitution so that in US, the vice president is only president. Let's stop the deputy governor from being given a better role, maybe as speaker of their state houses of assembly. That we turn down the loyalty that we are talking about. And the way it is now, the deputy are more or less enslaved to their principal. And you know what I'm saying, so you have forum of governors across the country, forum of chairman of local government, forum of state house of assembly. You have forum for deputy governor in Nigeria. If they say their principal will do with them this year.
Thank you.
But the governors are enjoying it, and our lawmakers politicians they don't want to.
Thank you very much, 𝗪𝗪𝗁. Thank you very much. Let me read some messages on Facebook. 𝗪𝗪𝗁 𝗪𝗏 says, a vice president or a deputy governor is as powerful to the extent of power granted to it by the president or governor. The deputy roles should be clearly defined, properly defined in the constitution like we have in the United States. Hello, good evening. Hello. Please put down the volume of your radio set. Are you turning off completely, please?
I've done that. Good evening. Good evening to your guests.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't even know if your guests have touched about the deputy governor in Kogi, the current deputy governor, Onoja. You remember the one that was impeached by the State House Assembly? When Onoja there for him, always on social media, but when it dawned on him, he said that no, he said that there or here, but at the same time, he has the constitutional right to follow the comment of your guest, but I don't think I have the time on some of the court judges.
Please, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. We have more time to talk about it. Deserve to be sacked or 𝗪𝗪𝗁, you're welcome.
As constituted, is for that table for campaign. So in most cases,
those deputy governors know where they have their weaknesses or.
And this is the second constituency.
Well, as it is in Nigeria, what's in is magnanimous enough. At least to not enough for it. And if you want to continue the way it is,
the people that are on the tickets would not have value.
So let the man on it
who serve with
you
him.
can say just the great constitution say that you cannot pick from your senatorial district, right? But pick someone else. So the position of some deputy governors now
is more like
is
political.
Worse than that. Worse than that. So that's the reality.
Okay, I think the take home for me, the 4 years now, then we should come back to start talking. But again, well, tomorrow is Friday and God's plan our lives. I will be back. Mr. 𝗵𝗂 𝗪𝗵𝘁 is the head of political desk of 𝗪𝗲𝗱 newspaper. Thank you for joining us on the show today. God's plan our life next week Thursday is going to be here again, and we'll look at other issues to discuss. But then keep your dial locked on Mainland 98.3 FM. By 5 o'clock is going to be the headline news, and by 5:30 the full bulletin, and by 6 it's going to be Sport Cruise. Wale Adigo and the sport guys will come in to give you everything you need to need. My name is 𝗪𝗵𝗁 𝗦𝗪 𝗪𝗵𝗁 𝗧𝗵𝗲. Stay out of trouble.